So again, today's class is Website 101. We are going to be going over the Command website, how to set it up, make any edits that you might need to make, and just kind of where everything is located and where everything is going to be pulling from. So again, this is the 101 version of the website class. So this will be going over all of the basics for that website and setting it up. To start, I'm logging into Command. This is via agent.kw.com. And I'm just going to log in. Once you guys are in Command, the first thing I recommend doing is just clicking on Accept Cookies, just to make sure everything populates fully for you and you can see the full screen. But the first thing I want to go over is the marketing profile. So the marketing profile is where all of your information is going to pull from for everything in Command. This includes your website and your mobile app, your smart plans, your designs and campaigns will actually be able to pull from here. So to start, we're just going to click on our name in the top right-hand corner, and then we're going to click on Settings. Once this page loads, on the left-hand side, you now have additional settings available. We're just going to click on Connect Settings, and you'll see Marketing Profile is nestled right underneath that. And we're just going to go ahead and click on Marketing Profile. So once this page loads, most of you will probably have your basic information already added there. However, if you guys have a new email address, a new headshot, maybe a team logo, any of that information, that this is actually where you're going to start with those edits. So anytime you guys have a new piece of information or a change that you might need to make, it's all going to be done here, and it's actually going to feed out to your Command platform for you. So think of this as kind of like your ground zero for your marketing information. So for starters, we have our headshot. You'll notice the headshot does fit inside of this circle because it is cropped to be a square. So if you guys have a headshot that is maybe a rectangle or just not a perfect square, you'll notice when you add that in, it will usually distort the image. So in order to correct that, you'll want to make sure that you crop that image to be a square. If you guys have any trouble with that, as always, you can shoot it over to us as an attachment on an email and just ask us to add your headshot. We can get that added everywhere for you. But if you guys are seeing that it looks funny, that's why. You just want to make sure it's cropped to being a square. Underneath that, you have your team logo. If you guys do not have a team logo, you're welcome to use the regular KW logo, or you can leave it blank. One thing to keep in mind with the team logo is if you guys do not have anything there, it will show up as an image unavailable on smart plans. So if you guys are getting that, this is actually where it pulls from. So you can leave that blank. Some agents put in just the regular KW logo, or essentially whatever you guys want to populate there. There is also a location below for your office logo, which we'll be going over. So this would be more so just that red KW rather than the office logo. And this also, you would want to make sure that's a square. Underneath that, we have our basic information. So this is just our basic name, contact information. And you'll notice here we have first name and last name. Underneath that, we have our agent license number. We're not licensed real estate agents, so that's left blank for us. But this is a great location for any of you who might be dual licensed. If you guys are licensed in multiple states, this is a great location to add that information in. So you guys could actually put like FL and then your license number, and GA and then your license number. That way it just specifies right here, and this will actually populate on your marketing and your website for you. You have your team name right to the right-hand side. Again, if you guys are not a part of a team, we do recommend that you put something there, whether it's your name or your office name, whatever it may be, because this box is actually going to label the drop-down list on your website. So if you guys leave this blank, that's completely fine. However, the actual title of your drop-down list on your website will just populate as your agent. So by putting something there, it will just have, say, John Smith. And then when they click on John Smith, they'll see that full drop down list with all of your website pages. Underneath that, we have professional job title and designations and credentials. Depending on your board and brokerage, you do want to make sure that you're following compliance for that. So if your brokerage does require that you have realtor with a registered R or licensed real estate representative, whatever it may be, you just want to make sure that's what's populating for your professional job title. And then any additional designations or credentials that you have, you can type in there. Underneath that, we have our bio. You'll notice here that we do have the line breaks already added in. If there is a specific formatting you're looking to use for your bio, you have certain line breaks that you want added, make sure that you're adding those in here because they will actually feed over to your website like that. So as long as you have that updated here, that will feed over accordingly. And if you guys haven't added a bio yet, that's completely fine. You can add that in later. Underneath that, we have our phone numbers, starting with our mobile number and our office number. Previously, we were unable to add any special characters to these boxes. It would only allow you to add the actual number. It wouldn't let you do the dots or the dashes, parentheses, essentially formatting that phone number. Now you are able to format the phone number and it will populate on your website as such. However, if you go to create a custom page down the line for your website, it will just make you remove those dashes and dots. So just keep that in mind. But now you can add those dashes and dots into your phone number in order to have that populate on your website. Underneath that, we have our email address and our website URL. So for email address, we get this question a lot. You do not have to use your Keller Williams email. This would be whatever email address you're using for your marketing. So if you guys have a custom email, vanity email, personal email, whichever one you want your clients to see and you want to be corresponding with your clients through, that's the email address you want populating here. To the right, we have our website. You'll notice that is populating here. We have scottliverymarketing.kw.com, and you'll notice it starts with HTTPS, and then we have that semicolon // Make sure that if you guys have your website URL populating here already, make sure that you have that HTTP or HTTPS populating in that box. What that does is it makes your website clickable from third-party platforms. So if someone comes across your mobile app, they can click right on your website and it will open that website up for them without them having to actually copy and paste it into a browser. This is the same for your office website. So if someone comes across your agent profile on your office's website, they'll be able to click right on your website and it will open up for them. So that HTTP or HTTPS just makes it clickable. Kind of skips a step for your clients. They don't have to copy and paste. If you guys ever question which one that is, if it's HTTP or HTTPS, if you guys are using the .kw.com, it will always be HTTPS. If you guys are using a custom URL, the best way to figure out which option your URL uses is just by pasting it into a blank tab and then copying it again, and it will actually copy it with whichever version is correct. Underneath that, we have our brokerage information. You'll notice on the left-hand side, we have our brokerage logo. We're just using the general KW logo. We're using the grayscale option. You'll notice here it looks very wonky. However, on all of the platforms, including our website, it will show up correctly. This is a little bit misleading. So if you guys are seeing that as well, especially if your brokerage does have an office-specific logo, it probably looks very crammed in this location, but it will populate correctly on all platforms, your website, your smart plans, everything. So don't panic. That's normal. On the right-hand side, we now have our actual brokerage information. The first line should be your brokerage name. So if you guys are with Keller Williams Realty Select or Keller Williams the names are escaping me. Whatever your brokerage name is, you want to make sure that's what's populating there. Underneath that, we have your office number. If you guys are not required to have your office or your brokerage number on your marketing materials, you can repeat your cell phone number. That's the same for up here as well. But if your brokerage does require the office number or your board requires the office number on your marketing materials, just make sure that you have that there for compliance. Underneath that, we have the brokerage address. You'll notice we have the physical street address first, and then city, state, zip is underneath. So you'll want to make sure that's populating. If you guys are with like a business center or you're with multiple market centers, I am going to attach the notes for how to brand your marketing profile and your website for multiple market centers in the notes. So if you guys are following along with class, just make sure you guys have dropped your email once in the chat. I'll get those notes out to you. And then if you guys are following along with the recording, right underneath this video, there will be a clickable link with class notes, and anything that I reference during class will be put right into that shared document. So you guys will have access to all of the tips as well. But if you guys are with multiple market centers, there are ways to get your marketing profile set up as such. So I'll make sure that's attached for you as well. Underneath that, we have the brokerage license number. If you guys don't know that offhand, it's not required, but if you do have it available to you, you would just type that right into the box. Underneath that, we have compliance. So this is going to be something that a lot of agents are going to be seeing, especially if you're out of Texas, New York, California. If there's something specific that your office requires you to have on your website, this is where you're going to make sure it's added. So the first section is our legal footer text. This is going to be placed at the bottom of your website, your smart plans, pretty much everything, which is great. A lot of you will most likely have each Keller Williams office is independently owned and or operated. Verbiage may change a little bit, but the overall text is usually something along those lines. If you're unsure if your office requires something specific on your marketing, touch base with your broker in charge and they can verify for you. And just make sure that you have everything compliant for your board and your brokerage. Underneath that, we have our legal footer links. If your board or brokerage require you to have an actual file attached to your marketing platforms, for example, this is for the state of Texas. If you guys are associated with the state of Texas for real estate, they do require the information about brokerage services, PDF to be added, as well as the consumer protection notice. So both of these are just hyperlinked PDF files, and then this is how they'll show up on the bottom of your website. So they'll just be stacked on top of each other and then clickable to this URL. If you guys are in a situation where you're unsure how to add that, but you have a document that needs to be added, by all means, reach out to us, support@scottleroymarketing.com. Just attach the file, provide your login information for Command, and we can definitely help with that. Underneath that, we have our legal footer images. Most brokerages and boards won't have a specific image that you need to have on your marketing materials, but I know the state of Maine does. So if you guys are licensed in the state of Maine, I believe it's the MLS board that actually requires it. They require the equal housing opportunity and the actual MLS logo to be added to your website. So if you guys do have those, you would just save those images to your desktop, click on upload, and it will allow you to locate that image on your desktop and actually add it to all of your branding. Keep in mind, these icons show up very, very tiny. 128 by 48 pixels is very small. It is compliant, but it's going to show up right at the bottom of your website, just very tiny. Underneath that, we have our social media platforms. So these are all of the social links that you guys can add to your Command website and platforms. One thing to keep in mind when it comes to your social media URLs you do want to make sure that you are promoting a page that is real estate specific. So rather than putting your personal pages here, you would want to make sure that you do have a business page set up and it is geared towards the real estate platform or something along those lines, because these are going to be branded everywhere. So they're going to populate on your website, people are going to have access to them from your mobile app. So you just want to make sure that you know exactly what's going to be posted to them. To start, we have Facebook. You'll notice that all of these URLs are also hyperlinked, so you want to make sure that you have that added as well. Again, it's just going to make them clickable for your clients, one less step for them. They won't be copying and pasting URLs. We have Twitter. This is also a business page. We have Instagram, a business page. YouTube. This would be whatever YouTube channel you guys have set up. Or if you are in the process of setting up a YouTube channel, again, just make sure it's specific towards your business. And then LinkedIn. LinkedIn, really any profile you have on LinkedIn is going to be a professional page. So whatever your URL is for your profile, that's what would go here. Underneath that, we have Facebook Pixel and Ads and Google Analytics. I will include this in the notes also that I'm sending over to everybody attending class today, as well as the notes underneath the recording if you guys are following along. If this is something you guys are looking to set up, we do have specific steps that will go over that for you. Facebook Pixels, the Pixel ad is going to allow you to just track the traffic that is coming through any ads that you guys run on command. Google Analytics, very same idea. It's not only going to track your traffic for Google AdWords, but it's also going to help track the traffic for your command website. So it's a great thing to have set up. So I can get that out to you guys as well. And again, as always, if you guys get stuck or have questions, just let us know. Last but not least, if you guys scroll down all the way to the bottom, you guys are going to see your branded KW app link. So this is optional, but as long as you are a licensed real estate agent, you should be given an app link. This is just a branded URL that will be provided to you as an agent that will allow clients to download your mobile app. This is something that should be added in automatically, but if you guys are seeing a URL that does not start with app.kw.com, chances are it's the placeholder URL. I am going to show you guys where you can snag the correct URL from the back end of your account. I'll be going over that next. So you guys can always come back in here and paste it in. But again, if your URL does not start with app.kw.com, it's the placeholder URL. So you would want to make sure that you correct that. If you guys made any changes today, just make sure that you're clicking save at the bottom. And then you guys should get your marketing profile pop up, just letting you know that everything's been saved. We'll X out of that. The last thing I want to touch upon within the marketing profile is going to be right at the top on the right-hand side. You'll notice that you see use my information to brand my agent site. If this is not toggled to being a green dot and you're seeing just a gray dot at the moment, it means that all of the information we just set up is not being shared with your command platform. So you do want to make sure that you click on this toggle button in order to make it populate as green. You will get a compliance pop-up just letting you know everything that you guys have added onto this page does need to be within compliance, and it's just kind of giving you a heads up that if it's not, you would want to correct that beforehand. But once you guys have that dot populating as green, it means all of this information is being shared to all of the platforms within Command. So your website, it's going to brand your mobile app, any of your smart plans, it's going to do all of that for you, which is great. So again, this is kind of like your one-stop shop to make edits. So make sure that any information, if you guys change anything, emails, anything along those lines, always make sure you're starting with updating it on the marketing profile. Now that you guys have that set up, we're going to jump into the actual website portion. And we're just going to be clicking on the consumer icon on the left-hand side. It should be the last icon populating. If you guys can't see it, try zooming out a little bit. Sometimes if you're zoomed in too much, it cuts that off on you. And if you guys ever question which icon is which, click on the red KW at the top or the white KW with the red background, and it will actually give you all of the names of the tabs. But we're going to be clicking on consumer. Once I've clicked on this page, I'm just going to be clicking on agent site pages because we're going to be working on the actual command website today. Once this page loads, you may have a couple of pages already added. If you do not, that's what we're going to be setting up today, so don't panic. If you already have some pages added, this is where you'll actually be able to make some tweaks to them. So you'll be able to customize some of the information that's already there. But each of you may have something looking a little bit different, so don't panic. If you don't have your website set up, that's exactly what we're going to be going over today. So to start, once you guys are on the agent site pages section, we're just going to click on configure your site. If you guys are not seeing configure your site right here, scroll down a tiny bit and it's also in the bottom left-hand corner. Both of these buttons do the exact same thing, just sometimes depending on your browser, it doesn't always show up in the top right-hand corner. Once we click on that, we're going to get a pop-up. And we're just going to select the first option. I want to use the new KW agent sites. And then we'll click on submit. Once this page pops up, this is just letting us know what we're going to be doing today by going through the configure your site section. We're going to be choosing a subdomain. So just choosing the URL for your website. We're going to go over some of the themes and styling available. And then it's also actually going to be creating 3 of the pages that are going to go on our website. So this is going to be the About Me page, About Us page, which generally markets any piece of your market center, and then also a Contact Us page, which is a lead capture page. Once we've done that, we're just going to click on Get Started. And then this is the same compliance reminder that some of you may have seen on the marketing profile. It's just letting us know that we want to make sure everything that we're adding to our website is within compliance. And if you guys have questions on something, to definitely touch base with your broker in charge just to confirm that you guys are still within compliance. I'm just going to click on Acknowledge and Continue. Once this page loads, the first thing you guys are going to see is that it's essentially set up in 2 different sections. So the left-hand side, this whole section right here, is going to be your preview. So this is going to show you exactly the changes that we are making based on this little section on the right-hand side. All of the edits that we're going to be making for pretty much the remainder of class is going to be done all on this right-hand side. And then all of our updates are going to populate on the left. To start, we have our subdomain. This is going to be the beginning of your URL for your website. So as I mentioned earlier, ours is set up as scottleroymarketing.kw.com. So if you guys are changing that now, or if you have nothing in there, you would just want to make sure that you select something or type something in here in order to essentially start your website. Once you guys have done so, you'll just click on Confirm Domain, and you'll get your little congrats pop up, just letting you know that you've claimed your subdomain and you're good to go. All of the command website URLs will end in .kw.com. All of the command website URLs will also not work with www. So you do want to make sure if you're adding your website to any sort of marketing, you want to make sure that you're just typing it in as scottleroymarketing.kw.com. If you add a www before this URL, you will get an error message. Once you guys have confirmed that, we're just going to click on our marketing profile information right underneath. And the beauty of this section is it's actually going to pull over all of the information that we just went over on the marketing profile. So most of this should already be populating for you. For starters, we have our first name and our last name. Our brokerage name will pull over from the marketing profile, and you'll notice it's actually not editable here. It would have to be corrected on the marketing profile if there was ever a discrepancy. Underneath that, we have our address for the brokerage. Then we have our team or business name. And what I'll do is I'm actually going to pull up our website so I can show you guys exactly where that will populate. So your team or business name is going to be the name of your drop-down list on your website. So when you click on it, those are the pages for your website. So that's why having something for your team or your business name is important. Otherwise, it will just label it your agent. So if you guys did not previously put in a team or a business name on the marketing profile, you guys can type that in now. You can just use your first and last name if you'd like. That's what a lot of agents tend to do, or first and last name with realtor or whatever you'd like. Then for your professional job title, is right underneath. If you guys are looking for the registered R, I know a lot of agents ask that. If you guys are using a PC, you would hold down the Alt key and then type in 0174 while holding down the Alt key. If you guys are using a Mac, I believe it's the command button, but I'm not 100% positive. I believe it's the command button, holding it down, also typing in 0174, and that will give you the registered R. We do get that question a lot. And again, if you guys ever get stuck with that, we can always send it over to you. But that should get that for you. Underneath that, we have our email address, which again, should be pulling over from the marketing profile. Then we have our phone numbers. This is where it will require you to pull out those special characters. So if you guys do have those special characters added, you'll want to make sure that you remove them here. Then we have the biography, also still has our page breaks or our line breaks in there. And this all pulls over from the marketing profile, which is why having that set up is very important. It will do most of the work for you, which is great. Underneath that, we have our agent license number. Again, we're not licensed real estate agents, but that's where you guys can add that in. And again, if you guys are dual licensed, you would just want to specify which state the license number is in, but they can go all right here together. You just use like the and sign in between them or whatever you'd like, just to specify that they are two different states and license numbers. Underneath that, all of our compliance information pulls over, starting with our compliance text. Underneath that, our brokerage information. All of this is populating for us. We have our URLs that we added, information about brokerage services. And then if you guys previously added images for your footer, those should be populating right here. Scrolling down to imagery, we have our headshot, which you can now see is cropped to a square. And then we have our logo, which now looks much nicer. It's no longer squished in that circle. And then we have our team logo, which is right underneath that. And then they just show an example. If you guys are looking for your brokerage logo, if you guys are unsure where that is, or if your brokerage even has one, if your Keller Williams office has a specific logo, you can always shoot us an email. We keep pretty much all of them on file, so we can always get that back to you if you guys ever need a copy of it. But they're also available to you guys on KW Connect. That's also a video that I've added into the notes below, as well as the notes that I'll be sending over to you guys watching class. That will go over how you can actually locate those logos and all the variations. So if you guys wanted like a grayscale or a PNG without a background, whatever option you guys need. Underneath that, we have our social media URLs. You'll notice all of them do come over hyperlinked, which is great because you will not be able to get past this point unless they are hyperlinked. So you do want to make sure that you have that HTTPS // for all of your URLs that you've added. And if you guys were unable to add these today, or if you haven't set up a business page yet, don't panic. You can add these into your marketing profile at any time, and they will automatically feed over to your website. Last but not least, again, we have our KW app link populating at the bottom. This should be showing as your specific link. So you should see app.kw.com, and then it should be / a code. It has like a couple of numbers, couple of letters. We are not licensed real estate agents, so ours just brands with the regular app code. But as long as you are a licensed real estate agent, this will automatically populate for you, which is great. And you'll notice it's actually not editable. So there's no chance of you guys accidentally adding in the wrong code. It will automatically pull yours for you. Once we get down to the bottom, you're just going to want to click on Save and Continue on the bottom right-hand corner. Then that brings us to the next section, which is going to be Style and Theme. For right now with the styles, the two options that you guys have access to are the KW red theme and the dark theme. As of right now, what they do is it's going to change like the background of the buttons, the labels. If you guys did not add a logo at all for your brokerage logo, if you use the red theme, it's the traditional Keller Williams red logo. If you guys choose the dark theme, it will give you guys the grayscale logo. We manually added the grayscale logo, but if you guys again don't have a brokerage logo and you choose the grayscale option or the dark theme, it will give you this logo as your office logo. So you guys can select which theme you guys want to use. Underneath that, we have our homepage text. This is just the verbiage that is going to populate right above your search bar. So you'll notice on the left-hand side, we have our search bar populating. This is the main page of our website. Right above that, we have for all your real estate needs. That's what you would be putting in this box. So it's your homepage text. If you guys have a slogan or a catchphrase or a team name, whatever you guys want, you guys can type that in there. Just make sure that once you guys have typed that in, that you like how it's populating on your preview. As you guys adjust it, it will adjust on the actual preview for you. So if you end up with two separate lines or if it doesn't look right, just make sure you're paying attention to the preview. Make sure it looks the way that you'd like before you save it. And again, this can be edited at any point in time. You guys can jump back in here later today. If you think of something different, no worries. This can be edited at any time. You're not setting anything in stone. Underneath that, we have our hero images. Hero images is just another word for a background image. So as of right now, you guys are given 5 standard images populating here. You'll see that you guys have 5 different variations. You can edit these, you can remove them, you can add in your own stock images. One thing you do want to keep in mind, the recommended size is 1200 by 1200. That's actually not correct. You'll notice on the preview that it's a very narrow rectangle. 1200 by 1200 will give you a perfect square, so it will end up cropping your images. So we usually recommend it's technically 1200 by 600 to 1200 by 800. Anywhere in that variance, it will fit into this actual location. So if you guys have stock images, you do want to make sure that they're high resolution. If you guys maybe have photos that you've taken about with local pictures or shopping centers, whatever you guys are looking to brand your website maybe a little bit more towards the location that you're covering real estate in. You have local areas that you want to promote, whatever it may be. You can certainly add those. You just want to make sure that they're high resolution so they don't show up blurry. And you do want to make sure that they're cropped somewhere around that 1200 to 800, 1200 to 600 size. That way it will fit into this narrow rectangle. And again, we can always help with that. If you guys have images you're trying to add, shoot them over to us as an attachment with your login, and we can crop those accordingly and get them added to your website for you. Scrolling down to the bottom, I'm just going to click on Save and Continue. Now we're actually going to start adding some pages to our website. So the first page that we're going to be adding is the About Us page. This page is customizable to whatever you guys are looking to promote. We have some standard information that we tend to add to these pages. So if you guys already have information added here, chances are it's because we set your website up for you already. But a lot of agents come in here and they'll tweak it to either be about their office, about the location that they cover real estate in, whatever it may be. To start, we can actually set up the navigation section. So we're just going to click on navigation to make that expand. And you're going to notice here, what this is allowing us to do is reorganize the pages on our drop-down list. So as of right now, it's set up so home would be whatever we just labeled our team as. So if you guys put your name, it would have your name. And when people click on that, as of right now, company profile is first, about me is second, and contact us is third. You guys can actually drag and drop these and change the order of your pages if you'd like. And put them back to normal. But you guys can reorganize these if you'd like, if you want them in a different order. Underneath navigation, we have search engine optimization, and we're just going to click on that. Once that expands, this is going to give us the option to change the actual name of our page. So the page title is going to be how it shows up on your drop-down list. So this is going to be what your client sees first. So as of right now, it's set up as company profile. Depending on what type of content you guys are adding to this page would really depict on what you're going to be naming it. So if you guys are doing stuff about your brokerage, why go with a Keller Williams agent? Maybe you want to market a little bit of information about the location you're covering real estate in. You would label it accordingly. So just to show you on our website, this is literally going to be how it will show up. So ours is labeled company profile as of right now. So if you guys change that, it would just change the verbiage that shows up on your drop-down list. Underneath that is your URL slug. The slug is going to be the tail end of the URL. So if you wanted to share this exact page with your clients, or attach it to an email signature, or run an ad, for any reason that you would want somebody to get to this specific page without having to kind of look for it themselves on your website, you could actually share them the full URL. So all you're choosing with this slug is the ending. So your website would be Scott Leroy Marketing, so scottleroymarketing.kw.com, and then / about us. So you guys could change this about KW, about whatever you guys want. You guys can change the about. Again, my recommendation would either match it to your page title just to make things easier for you and your clients, or do something similar. Underneath that, we have our SEO description. So the SEO description is going to be the blurb that populates on a search engine if somebody comes across this specific page. So in other words, if somebody types in something and your scottleroymarketing.kw.com / about us comes up in one of the searches, this little blurb is that little paragraph that shows up underneath the URL. So if you guys have ever used like Google, Bing, Yahoo, any of those search engines, when you search for something, kind of gives you like that title and then that paragraph underneath it. This is where that paragraph is going to pull from. So you guys can put any sort of description, again, based on what this page is going to be covering. So depending on what type of information you're adding here would be based, that's what you would base your SEO description around. And if you guys ever question any of these, if you hover over these little eyes, they're going to give you a brief description in regards to what this does. So the SEO search engine, it will go over that exactly for you, just in case you guys jump back in here later and have additional questions. These eyes will usually cover it, but again, you can always reach out to us directly as well. Underneath that, we have our content. So once we click on content, the first thing you guys are going to see is the page header. So ours is set up again as company profile. That's what's populating here. Underneath that, we have the header image. This is the backdrop of the skyline. So if you guys have a photo that you would rather use, maybe it's more specific to your location, whatever it may be, you guys can add that in. The recommended size here is correct. So you would want to make sure that the image is cropped to being 2000 by 500 pixels. And that just means it's going to be that very long, narrow rectangle, and it will fit right behind your page header. And you would just click on your little upload option. Underneath that, we have our intro paragraph. This, as we've seen so far, actually does not have a character limit, which is pretty cool. So you guys can add a intro paragraph that's going to populate right here. Again, if you guys are doing information maybe on your brokerage or whatever it may be, you guys can add that in. Again, if you guys already had us set up your website, chances are there's some basic information in there. You do not have to keep that there. You can tweak that however you'd like. Underneath that, we have our section 1 headline. That's going to populate on the left-hand side with its paragraph right underneath. You'll notice that's exactly how it shows up over here as well. We have our headline and then our paragraph is right underneath. Then we have our section 1 image populating on the right. You do want to make sure that your images are cropped to being a square. You also want to make sure that they are not massive. If they are cropped to a square, but they're still a very high definition photo, they may not populate correctly. You do want to make sure that they're usually 1 MB under. But if you guys have trouble adding those in, shoot them over to us and we can always help you guys with resizing them and getting them added. Just let us know which one is which. Underneath that, same information, we have our section 2 headline with our section 2 paragraph underneath, populating right here. And then we also have our section 2 image. Same rules apply. You want to make sure it's cropped and not a massive image. And that's populating right next to it. Then we have our footer title and footer description. That's populating right at the bottom. The footer headline will actually show up in that blue. And then we have the description showing up in a bolded gray underneath. And you guys can copy and paste any text or information that you guys want added there. And then you'll notice underneath that, the automatic footer, this actually pulls from the marketing profile. So if you guys ever see, again, a discrepancy that's populating here, it actually pulls directly from your marketing profile. So you'd want to make sure that it's corrected there, and it will automatically syndicate over to your footer. You don't even have to do anything. Once you guys have made any edits, you'll just want to make sure that you click on continue. And again, you guys can come back in here later and make additional tweaks. None of this is set in stone, so you guys are all set. Next page is about us. We're going to start with navigation again. You'll notice it's populating as the second page currently, or if you guys previously tweaked it, it may be in a different order. But this is letting you do the exact same thing. You guys can move these pages around. Underneath that, we have our search engine optimization. Starting with our page title, that's currently set up as About Me. You guys can leave that as About Me, or if you guys are like a spouse team or sibling team, whatever it may be, if there's 2 of you, you can always do About Us if you guys are sharing a page. So if you guys want to match the pronouns, for example, this says About Us, which we can also change to About Me. My recommendation is just to make sure those are matching. So singular and singular or plural and plural. But our page title currently is set up as About Me. You guys can tweak that to say about Scott or, well, about your name or about team name, whatever you guys want. But that's all customizable as well. Same thing with the slug. I'll change that to be about Scott. And then our SEO description is set up to be about Scott Leroy Marketing. And once you guys have tweaked that, we're just going to click on our content. And then page title, I'm just going to change this to be about Scott. Leroy. Just personalize it a little bit rather than just saying about me. And then your title, you guys would have realtor or licensed real estate agent or whatever it may be. If you guys are with a specific brokerage, you can add that in as well. We see a lot of agents that put like realtor with the registered R, Keller Williams Realty Select, or whatever office you're with. Underneath that is just our bio title. That's what's going to populate right over here. It's set up as about Scott. You guys can set that up to be about me, about the team name, whatever you guys want. Underneath that, we have our bio. Do not panic. I know on the left-hand side for the preview, it got rid of all of your line breaks, but you'll notice in the actual bio section, your line breaks are still there. The preview is actually wrong. Keller Williams International is aware of that, but as long as your line breaks are showing up in the text box right here, they will actually feed over to the live page. So again, do not panic. As long as they're showing up in here, you guys are ready to go and it will show up on your website. Underneath that, we have our contact title. So we have contact Scott. Again, if you guys changed anything, whether it's pronouns or names or whatever it may be, you guys can also change this just to match it. And then we have contact phone number and contact email. And this should all pull over directly from our marketing profile. If you guys made any tweaks, just make sure that you guys continue to click continue. If you guys have skipped any pages, all it means is that it won't save any of your updates that you made. So just make sure that you continue to click continue. So once you guys have done that, we're going to move forward with continue. Last but not least, we have our contact us page. I'm going to start by clicking on navigation again. You'll see contact us is still the last page for me. Again, if you guys tweaked that, no problem. You'll just essentially have them populating in a different order. Underneath that, we have our search engine optimization. Same thing as the last two pages. You have your contact us for our page title. If you guys are a singular agent, you can put contact me, contact Scott, contact whatever you guys want. And I'll update this to Scott. And then we have the slug. It's just contact. You guys can make that longer if you'd like. If you want to do contact dash me, you can do whatever you'd like, or Scott. We'll do Scott. For the slug, you'll notice that no spaces or special characters are allowed, but dashes are recognized as a space. So if you guys do have multiple words that you guys are adding, team name or anything along those lines, just use that dash and it will allow you to essentially view it as a space. Then we have our SEO description again. Could put something like, get my SEO description. And now moving on to content. There is not a lot of content that you guys will need to tweak on this, more so just if you guys want to update this to being singular. So I'm going to put this for contact Scott, update it to his name. Marketing. And then we have our intro paragraph. You guys can put whatever you'd like here, or you can leave it blank. I'm going to put so you guys can put for all of your real estate needs, let me help you find a home, contact me today, whatever you guys want. Underneath that is our message hint. This is just the text that the client is essentially going to type over, but it's just giving them kind of a description or a brief heads up in regards to what you're looking for on this contact section. So you'll see here right now what's set up is, are you looking to buy or sell? What is your time frame? Where are you in your search? What is your budget? If you guys want to tweak that, you can. This is just the standard suggestive text that will populate here, but you guys can tweak that however you'd like. Underneath that, we have our phone number once more and our email address. Both of these should be correct as long as they are correct in the marketing profile. You'll notice they're populating right here. And then we're just going to click on our save and continue. Once you guys get to this page, if you guys are setting up your website for the first time and you guys just went through that whole process, this page may take a second to load. Don't panic. Once it does, we're just going to click on Manage Sites. So once this page does come up, and you may have to scroll down a little bit depending on the size of your screen, but we're just going to click on Manage Sites. And it should bring you right back to the main homepage of Command. Once you guys are back on this page, we're going to click on Consumer again just to look at our work. We're going to kind of go over everything, make sure everything looks correct. So we'll click back on Consumer. This is the last icon. Again, if you guys can't see it, just zoom out a little bit just so you guys can click on that. And then we'll click on Agent Site Pages once more. And now you'll notice here, I have two versions of some of these pages. If you guys had a website previously set up and you made any edits on those pages, you'll notice it actually replicates those pages. So now what I can do is I have a new About Us and a new Contact Us. So what I can do is I can just delete my old ones. So these are from October 7th, and I have my new ones from November 4th. So I'll delete my old ones. That way I don't have the same pages showing up multiple times with minor variations. So now I have my pages showing up, and I'm just going to go to my website. And you can do this just by clicking on the URL. Again, if you guys just set this up for the first time, or if you changed your URL, this may not be clickable yet. If you guys are still seeing gray eyeballs and they're not populating as teal, it just means that your website is in the process of launching. It usually takes 20 to 30 minutes, depending on time of day and updates with Command, but it usually takes about 20-30 minutes for your website to be completely live. So if you're not seeing it clickable yet, don't worry, come back in about 30 minutes and it will be live for you. If that does not go live, definitely reach out to us and we can spot check it and take a look for you. But I'm just going to click on our URL just to show you guys what the full website will look like. And it does usually take a second the first time you guys click on it. It's a brand new site, so it's kind of still in the process of updating. I'm just going to click on Accept Cookies. So we have our main page, and you'll notice our slideshow, it will change in the background. We have our title, our search bar. We have featured listings, which that's actually a quick tip video that I have added to our notes as well. If you guys have featured listings you want to add, that will be included in the notes if you guys dropped your email in the chat today for class. I'll also make sure it's on the notes attached to this video. So if you guys are watching the recording and you guys have featured listings you want to add, it will be right on there for you. Underneath that, it's Interested, Let's Talk. This unfortunately cannot be customized. At least we have not seen a way to do it yet. That may change in the future, but as of right now, Interested, Let's Talk does have to stay as is. Right-hand side, we have all of that information that pulls from our marketing profile. You'll notice even though we didn't format the phone numbers, Command does it for you. So it does still format everything for you. And then we have our email address as well. Scrolling down, we have our footer. This will be the same on every single page, which is great. Just means that you're covered for compliance purposes. We have our clickable links. We have our text. This image should be there automatically. And then we also have all of our clickable social media platforms. Scrolling back up to the top, if we click on our name, I'm just going to go through the pages that we added just so you guys can see and just make sure that they're showing in the way that you want them to. I'm going to start with my About Scott. And then you'll notice that this is just our bio page. We have our headshot, our name, our bio, everything showing up. And now you'll see also the line breaks are showing up correctly. Previously on your preview, they were not, but they do show up correctly on the actual website. And then we have the contact information right below. Clicking on our drop-down list again, I'm going to click on our company profile. And again, if you guys added information, custom information especially, don't panic if it takes a second to load. It's brand new, so it might still be launching for you. But you'll see for your company profile, we didn't add any actual content, but you guys should have company profile, the starter paragraph if you guys added that in, headline, and all of that information if you guys added that in as well. And then our footer description, and then same thing as before, interested, let's talk, and then all of our information. Scrolling back up to the top, last but not least is Contact Scott. We have our Contact Us page populating right here, Contact Scott Livery Marketing with our little blurb. And then this is where you guys can actually capture any leads that are coming to your website, which is great. It's a great way for your contacts to be able to touch base with you. They can shoot you a message. You'll get notified right on your command platform. So I recommend that you guys start playing around with this. You guys can do some test leads through your website and just kind of click on everything because you can't break it. So your best bet is to play around with it. That way you can explain to your clients as well. So the last thing I want to show you guys really quick, just jumping back to the command platform, I just want to show you guys how to add a mobile app page to your website. I'm going to do this as quick as possible because I know we're going over a little bit. I apologize. But to get that added, we're just going to click on Create a New Site in the top right-hand corner. And I'm still on Consumer and then Agent Site Pages. And you guys should see this Create a New Site button on the top right-hand corner. Once we click on that, you'll get this pop-up. We're just going to click on My Agent Site. And then once you guys have that selected, we'll click on Create Page. Once you guys have this page populating, the first thing I always recommend is to just rename the page. This is just going to make it easier when you go to make this page live, or if you ever need to make an update to this page down the line, it's going to give it an actual name that you recognize and not this code with New Agent Site. So I'm just going to click on Mobile App Page, just so I know what it is. On the right-hand side, you'll see the widgets that you guys have access to use. If you guys are interested in building your website out more, we do have a Website 201 class, which I also teach. It's going to be next Wednesday. I'm going to hyperlink that video in the notes as well. So if you guys are looking to add some additional pages, I'll make sure that's added for you. But the widget we're going to be using for this specific page is the Download My App one. So we're just going to click on that, remain clicking on it, and drag it over to our blank slate. Then I'm going to release my mouse. And then you'll see here, it has Download My App. We can customize that further by clicking on Configure Widgets on the bottom right-hand side. Once you guys click on that Configure My Widget, we're just going to click on Download My App. It's the only option. And then you'll see we can actually tweak the text if we want, which is great. So we have it set up currently. The headline is download the KW app. We can change this to your name, download Scott's KW app, download my KW app, download our KW app, whatever you guys want. The subtext, which is showing up right underneath our title, I'm going to leave that as is, but you guys can tweak that. You have up to 280 characters. This is essentially just a blurb that's letting your clients know what this app is going to do for them. Then we have the button text. This is just the text that's going to show up for the clickable button that's going to bring them to your app URL. So I'm just going to put download my mobile app. And then underneath that, more good news, there is no way that you guys can accidentally put the wrong URL. It's automatically pulling from the back end of Command. So that will be populating there. You guys cannot edit this. Once you guys have made your tweaks, if you click on Save and Apply, those updates are actually going to populate right on your account for you. Once you guys have done that, make sure it looks the way you guys want it to. It has the title, there are buttons there, everything looks good. We're just going to click on Save Changes in the top right-hand corner. Once you guys get this pop-up, previously you had to click No in order to save the page. It was a known glitch. However, it was recently corrected, so you can now click on Yes, and it will save this page for you. So we're just going to click on Yes. Once you guys have clicked on Yes, it brings you to the back end of your website where we can now make this page live. So once you guys are here, you'll see on the left-hand side, these are the pages we created earlier by going through that configure your site. We have our About Scott, YouTube video is a page we already had on here, our company profile, and Contact Scott. We're going to click on our little Add Page button right at the bottom. And you're going to see your mobile app page is showing up right on top. And it tells you when it was created. This is also another reason why labeling your page is so important. So we'll click our little bubble with our mobile app page, and then we're going to click Continue. Now it's going to have us fill out the basic information, pretty much exactly what we just did for the Configure Your Site section, except for the mobile app page. So I'm just going to give it a title. So I'm going to put Download My KW Mobile App. And that's how it's going to show up on my drop-down list. For my slug, I'm just going to put mobile dash app. And you guys can put, again, whatever you'd like. For SEO description, I'm going to put search for homes on the go with my KW mobile app. Any variation of that will be completely fine. And now that I have all three of these added, so I have my page title, my slug, my SEO description, I'm going to click on Save. And once we get that settings were successfully saved, I can jump back to my tab with my website. And I'm just going to refresh my page. And once I've refreshed it, whether you guys click on the KW logo, you just refresh the overall page. When you click on your drop-down list, you now have your mobile app. And now that's added to your website. And now you'll be able to click on the Download My Mobile App section, or the button, and it will pull up your actual mobile app page. So this is the mobile app URL. Yours should be branded with a little picture in your name populating right here. Ours, again, we are not licensed real estate agents, so ours is not branded. This is just the generic page. If you guys do not see branding yet, do not panic. If you just set up your marketing profile today during class, the mobile app does take up to 72 hours for it to update. So if you guys made any tweaks, or maybe your marketing profile wasn't toggled to being that little green dot, it just means that your mobile app hasn't had a chance to grab all of that information that we added today. So it does take 72 hours. Do not panic. If you've gone past that 72-hour timeline and you're still not seeing a little circle right here with your headshot or your initials with your name, then let us know and we can take a look at your account for you. So going back to Command, as far as pages go, you guys now have all of those pages added to your website. Your website is live. Keep in mind, if you guys do need to make changes to your website, the first stop that you guys want to make is through that marketing profile. And then you guys can also go in and edit these pages manually. I'm going to show you guys where those are really quick, just so you have an idea in case you want to come back in here later. If you guys ever need to make an edit to a page, that will all be done through designs. So we're just going to click on designs. Once we're clicked on designs, you guys should see my design templates, and then you have these tabs. We're just going to click on the agent site tab. And you'll see here, we have a ton of pages right now, but if you have just set up your website, you should only see the pages that have been set up today. So you can just click on that page. So I'll click on company profile. And you'll see it actually pulls up the page that we were editing earlier. And in order to make any changes to that website or that specific page, when you guys click on configure widgets, just like we did for the mobile app, and then click on company profile, or if you guys clicked on the about me, you would do the exact same thing, click on configure widgets, and then you would just click on about me. It will bring up the exact same editability that we had through the configure your site section. And then you would just save and apply any changes that you make. Give it a second to load, and then finalize it by clicking on Save Changes. If you guys ever make a tweak to a website page, make sure that you're throwing like a 2 or a revised or the date at the end of your title, just for you guys when you go to make it live. It will make sure that you guys are making that correct page live for you. So just make sure that you guys are changing that in some way. So if I do, I'll show you guys that really quick. Add a 2, and then I just click on my Save Changes. Would I like to make this a page? Yes. And then once you guys are back here, I'm just going to click on Agent Site Pages, because this will list all of our pages on our website. And you'll see here's my new one. So that's how you guys can make tweaks to any pages that you guys need to make edits to later on. If you guys go back in and make any changes or want to add an additional page, whatever it may be. Once you guys are on that agent site pages section, you'll notice that all of the eyeballs are teal. That means that they are live pages. You'll also notice that it's clickable. The new one that we just set up is not clickable, and the eye is showing up as gray, and it's letting you know that there's no view because it's not active yet. In order to make a page that has a gray eyeball active, you need to go back into Site and App Settings, and then Site Pages. And you'll notice this is exactly where we were when we saved the page. So it does automatically bring you there. But if you ever create a page, or maybe you guys created a custom page previously and you just want to add it, Site and App Settings and then Site Pages will let you guys add that in. So if I want to swap that out, so I just updated my company profile page, I can click on it, select these little 3 dots, and you'll see here it gives me the option to delete it or select a page. I can click on select a page and just grab my new one, and then continue and save. And that will actually replace my old company profile page with the one I just made my tweaks to. So that's how you guys edit any saved pages or customize any pages that you may have already created. That pretty much concludes everything that I wanted to go over. If there was anything that we either didn't cover, or if you guys are looking to add some additional things to your website, again, there will be a hyperlinked URL at the bottom of the recording. It's just going to say class notes and it will give you the full document. I'm also going to email it out to everybody who is physically in class today. It's going to go over some additional pages that you guys can add, some additional edits you guys can make. But if there's something that we didn't cover, or if you guys have additional questions, by all means, just let us know and we can always take a look at your account. And I appreciate you guys coming to class today.